Welcome to the Celebration of You. I'm your host, Holly Dowling. I'm thrilled to share with you incredible people from all over the world who are living and leading extraordinary lives. From overcoming immense adversity to discovering the secret sauce to leading with courage and grace. Their stories are going to bring you hope and inspiration. Now let the stories begin. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Celebration of You. And as always, I get so excited to celebrate incredible people because by the time you get to hear this awesome interview, this is always somebody that I've had the privilege and honor of meeting in my worldly travels when I get to say that I'm very blessed to be a messenger of hope and inspiration. And that's why I started this show, because of meeting people like this amazing woman you're about to meet. So let's get right to it. May I introduce you to the beautiful Angela Mannella-Hoffman. Angela, thanks for being here, love.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and blessed to be speaking with you.
Well, you are so welcome. And isn't it funny? We both know, and everybody around the world knows I'm very spiritual. So when
Yes,
you're open to how God moves and serendipitous moments, you just never know who you're going to meet.
absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
girlfriend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what was it? It was back in early August. I was I was in New York, and you were part of it was like the Global or International Dance Owners Association event. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's called the Dance Studio Owners Association Inner Circle, and it's a meeting consortium of all dance studio owners that are part of this group from all over the world. So we were listening to you as this one of our guest speakers, and I just immediately felt so blessed to be in your presence. It was really cool.
Oh, thank you, darling. And what I do remember is I can remember where you were sitting. I know this sounds crazy, but I just remember with hundreds of people, even thousands in ballrooms, it's funny how certain people you'll always remember because they're supposed to be in your life. And kudos and shout out to Clint Salter too, because he's the
Yes.
reason, because of his passion to bring dance owners together and has become a dear friend. And yeah, so we met and I got like through the course of all of these things and interactive moments we did, I was like, I need to know who you are and you're going to be on my show. And I remember saying that to you afterwards, didn't I?
Yes, and we both had the same color blue on too, so it had to be, something special there.
Well, it had to be. And we had a lot of, shall we call it soul connection, serendipitous
Yes.
things. But let's talk about you and your current world and
Sure.
what you're passionate about, because you are a dance owner. You've
Mhm.
done a lot, girlfriend. So tell us about the current world that you're living in and what you're most passionate about.
Sure. Well, I own a dance studio. I started out as a child actor and did commercials and plays and all of those things and did that pretty much all my life. But about 10 years ago, I opened up my dance studio and I was really tired of seeing young girls objectified through dance, wearing, skimpy costumes, putting on all this makeup and trying to be somebody who they weren't. And so I wanted to open a studio that didn't have that. So our basis is really wholesome and family friendly dance technique and performing arts technique. So our students learn to sing, they learn to dance, they learn to act. And my mission is really to help my students see God in themselves. And I use the performing arts as that vehicle. But we have classes with students that are in wheelchairs. We have classes with students with Down syndrome. I have many, many different types of students from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different kinds of things that I've been so blessed to be able to be a part of their life. And what makes me the happiest is when I can see that they can see their own divine grace in themselves. Because I think that's just so important in our world that we all see that God is in us and we have something to give.
Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here and Angela, I'm looking at your gorgeous face and I'm thinking, no wonder you were glowing in that huge crowd. And I was just taken by you.
Oh, thank you.
You are honestly what I like to call an angel on assignment.
Oh, that makes me so, so happy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, but it's true. And thinking about this, I didn't even know this part about you, my friend. Like
Yeah.
I knew that you were passionate about children, but
Mhm.
was there something? So this is just mind-boggling. So was there something in your life that provoked you and maybe was the nudge that you wanted to work with children, especially children, and helping them empower their grace and their gifts with special needs? Or was this just, did it just happen coincidentally?
I had it kind of happened coincidentally, but I had always taught at different studios, and so many of them didn't have a special needs program. And I started mine, now there's a lot in different studios, which is so fantastic. But I had always wanted to make sure that everybody could dance because really the only muscle that needs to work is your heart. Because if you love it, we can find a way to make you dance. So I have some students that can just move, part of their arm. I have one girl that's in a wheelchair and can just move part of her arm, but she still has so much passion and lights up the stage. And her heart is loving what she's doing. And that's all we need, really. We can take care of the rest. And I don't know, I just always felt so blessed that everybody has something to give.
Mm.
And for me, growing up, I did a lot of things, but I never really got any acclamation back for it. I did when I was on stage by getting applause and things like that. But I knew that I needed to allow other people to see that they were fantastic just as they were.
Oh, I love that line, that they were as fantastic just as they were. And now that you're bringing this up and going back to childhood, and I know you started around the age of 8,
Hmm.
I always love to know, I always like to know the backstory. What's the
Sure.
story behind the story of Angela? And take us back to that younger years, those, whether it was 6, 8, 10, maybe it
Yeah.
was into high school, or what was one of the more pivotal moments for you, my friend, that maybe it was adversity you overcame that really has been a key part of your faith and who you are today, or and whatever it was. I just love to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Tell me about Angela's pivotal moment.
Sure. Well, for me, I am the youngest of 9 kids.
Mm.
So
Whoa, that's enough, right?
yeah. So anytime I did anything, everybody would clap for me. So if I went to the bathroom on the potty, I would get applause. So I was kind of the entertainer of our family, and we had some family struggles. My mother had some alcoholism, and my dad, and there were some really, really tough times. But I would always try to make things better by entertaining everybody. And in doing that, I had a lot of holes in my own self, um, and I had to. There was one moment when my mom tried to kill herself,
Oh no, I didn't know
and
this.
I was
Okay.
the only one there, and she had been drinking, and it was a really, really tough time for our family. Um, and I was the only one there, and I remember reaching out to one of my siblings, and they said, "Oh, she'll be fine. Just let her be." And I guess that was a really pivotal moment for me because I felt like nobody listened except for God. Um,
How old were
so
you? Do you mind me asking when that happened?
what?
How old were you when that
I was
happened?
16 at this time.
Wow.
Um, so, and luckily my mom came through that. My parents, before my mom died last year, had been married 61 years. We just always had faith, knowing that there's trials and tribulations, but God will help us through
Mm,
and just not to give up.
mm.
So, in that moment, I really knew that God would always be with me, even if other people wouldn't. Um, and so that's what I really want my students or anybody I come in contact with to know, that it doesn't matter what your parents say about you, your spouse says about you, anything like that. You are a child of God, and that's who matters. And yeah,
Mm, I love it. Oh my goodness. Oh my friend, I knew there was something special, extra special. And hearing that and knowing, isn't it interesting that at 16, what most people don't have to go through, right? Like,
yeah,
and to experience that with your parent and your mother. And fortunately, she ended up living many, many years, it sounds like,
yes,
right?
yes,
What advice? So I never know what I'm going to say, but thinking
sure.
about this, because, and I hate to say it like this, but suicide is becoming more and more prevalent because it
Oh,
is the result of what I'm passionate about is mental health awareness. We are not talking about mental health enough, and typically addictions
Right.
are a result of mental health issues. And it's
Hmm.
like we talk about cancer all day long, but we're not,
Exactly.
right? We're not talking about mental
Yeah,
health. And it's, suicide in adults as much as it is children. And even if
sure.
you don't know what was the cause, but as a mother with 9 children, did she battle depression and was alcohol?
She
What do you think
did.
this was?
Yeah, she did. She did. I myself battled depression somewhat. And a number of my family members do as well. But for her, it really culminated when her mom died. And I think my mom just felt so alone and didn't really have anybody. I mean, she came from, the 1950s where my dad would come home from work and she'd have 3 meals made for him a day and she looked gorgeous. And I have pictures of her vacuuming in heels.
Oh, like June Cleaver.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. So everything was all about appearances.
Mm.
And I think that she tried so hard to appear that everything was going well, but had such a hole in her heart when her mom died. So I think that was a big catalyst for all of it.
Mm. So
But
now, as a mother and a wife yourself,
mhm.
and I'm going really personal now, but
Yeah, yeah,
how do you? Because I think we all. I mean, I want everybody listening to hear this because Angela's being really transparent, and I've been as transparent as I think we all battle. Um, there's no perfect life. There's no perfect
right.
family out there. Everything's dysfunctional. It's what we do with how we grow through it, the resilience factor, and I'm a big believer in getting the help that we need. I'm all about, I want,
Absolutely.
being the greatest version of you doesn't mean it comes from birth and you're a shining
Right.
star. I mean, yes, we
Yeah.
want you to
Yeah.
be, but so how have you handled this through the years, like as a mother and a wife for you?
Yeah, well, I really have to check myself a lot. I always start each day in prayer and I try to just be so thankful for every single gift. It doesn't always happen. I mean, I have really crappy days sometimes, but I really just try to see everything as a blessing and a gift. So even yesterday, I was at church and there was this beautiful little baby in front of me. And my husband and I have had some fertility issues. So we haven't been able to have a baby for quite a while. So I was looking at this beautiful baby. And sometimes I would think, oh, I feel so bad about myself because I don't have another child. And I've been trying to look at things like, thank you, God, for letting me see this beautiful, beautiful baby sitting in front of me. And
Mm.
what a blessing that I get to sit right behind. So trying to find just the joy in everything, really. Um, I just think we don't really have anything else. I mean, this is all so fleeting, really. I mean, the next life is what we have. Um, so there's good in all things, I think.
Well, and it's not, you're exactly right. And I've got the goosies. You know, when I get the goosies, girlfriend, you know it. I think you even got them once too when we were together in New York.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
they are the good bumps. And you do, how old is your son now? Because
He is just turned 12.
oh, what a fun
Yeah,
age.
he
And
is.
you know what's amazing as I'm listening to you bringing, it's to be so cliche, and I don't want anybody to miss this. Like yesterday, you sharing that example of seeing this beautiful baby. It's, are we willing to see the miracles that are in front of us every day? It's like
Yeah,
walking down the street and not noticing the dirt on the curb, but noticing the blooms in the bushes behind it, right?
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
you are such an example. And as I was listening to you, thinking about what you just shared, I'm thinking, Angela, you have over 400 students going through your dance studio. Look how many children God has given you
I
to
I just
be
got
that,
goosebumps. Yes, and
right?
that is exactly yes, yes. I
Ah,
get to be mom to so many children, so I'm so blessed with
and
that.
not just children, but children that have been given the extra special gift of having, to me, extra special needs means they're just extra special and
Oh,
extra
yeah.
angels are around them. And you're getting to have the honor of being, I mean, I'm going to say it bluntly, whether you are the second mom in their life, because a woman they're spending a lot of time with, or you might be the only parent in their life that's giving them the love, the joy, and the grace.
Yeah, yeah, and I just feel blessed to I think when we open ourselves up to receive and give blessings, so much more comes to us. Um, I just firmly believe that it just is all a kind of a flow.
Mm. It
So,
is.
yeah.
It is.
And
And what were you going to say? Go ahead.
oh, I get more from those students than I could ever give them. I mean, just, you know, all my students come up and give me hugs all the time. And I always tell them I love you.
Mm.
And I know some people look at me strange, like, well, why are you saying I love you to, my kid? But I do. I love them all. And my special needs students are some of the funniest, just most giving and loving students I've ever had. And they tease me all the time. And we just have so much fun together that it's really special.
Well, and I'm smiling with my eyes closed because when I was in high school, I had a passion. I used to just love to spend time with special needs and especially Down
Oh,
syndrome. And it was just something
yeah,
I did on the weekends. I mean,
sure.
nobody needed to know about it. That's how would love to spend my time. And then in college, I would come home on the weekends to spend the time with the people I had really grown fond of. And I loved it. And
Yeah.
as I'm listening to you, I had some certain, they just became so dear and special to me, but
Oh,
it was
yeah.
unconditional love.
Yes. Just
Oh,
love to everything. I mean, it
yes.
just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the boundaries that we all place on ourselves don't matter. I mean, they'll come up and touch my face and give me
Yeah.
kisses. And, I mean, it's just, how can you not feel amazing with that?
It's
So,
like joy oozing over all the time.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so since we're talking about that, I was going to ask you something else, but I got to go here. When you're just thinking about all these beautiful children that you've had that you get to have the privilege of letting God use you in their life, is there any like story that's just popping out at you right now as you're giggling and thinking about the love? Is there any student that you've seen truly and just for them like start and come out feeling something so special that you got to watch the transformation? Is there any story like that?
Yeah, and it's not so much with the actual special needs students, it was with the dancers who got to see them. So a number of years
Ooh.
ago, I started taking them to dance competitions. And the first time we did, this was about 4 years ago maybe, we had 2 girls in wheelchairs and there was about 18 other students with Down syndrome, and we were coming into this dance competition, and it was the other students all looked at us like, "What are you doing? What is going on here?" And for a moment, I thought, "Oh my gosh, I should leave. I should leave. This is a bad idea, blah, 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 blah." And the moment that our students got up on stage, all of these other teenage dancers came out and started watching them and were hooting and hollering and supporting them. And it was I mean, I cry thinking about it. It was the most beautiful thing when they came off stage, and these parents had not had the opportunity for their kids to perform much. So it was just a unique moment for them too. But the
Wow.
organizers of the competition gave them each medals, and they took first place, and all of these other teenage students came out and gave them hugs, and it was just
Oh.
amazing seeing not only my students change, but these other people around them who had so many preconceived notions ahead of time, and their hearts were opened by seeing these other students. So it was just incredible. I mean, I just was so blessed to be a part of that.
Oh,
Um,
I'm loving the visual. I'm having the goosies just listening to this
yeah,
because I love that it was the result of something that you never would have imagined you watched
right,
this happen.
right.
Oh,
And I totally thought, oh, I should just leave. I should just leave. This is a bad idea. But I hear God a lot in my heart, and He told me to keep going, and I did. So it was fantastic.
Oh, well, and so before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to share with everybody because you're so humble. You are
Oh,
humility and grace all wrapped up in a bow. And
thank
I
you.
want everybody to know that your passion, I mean, yes, you mentioned you've done tons of commercials and you were dancing and acting as a child, but you have some huge credits under your belt, my love. You performed at a Super Bowl and Paul McCartney's in a tour. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I got when he was here locally, he auditioned some dancers to be part of his tour, and I was able to be one of them. So that was fun.
Okay, now I have to know. What was that like? Was there anything really cool that happened on that tour? I mean, is he a neat guy? Please tell me he is. Okay, good.
Yeah. What I found fascinating, and I did a couple of the shows here around this area, so I didn't go on the road, the full time, because he was getting local dancers in each place. But I thought the food trucks were amazing. There were like 4 semis just for catering. It was just fantastic to see like how this whole machine works. And he was so grateful and just such a cool person, came talk to all of us, it was really cool. It was really
I love
cool.
this. I love this so much. And I love hearing, because I have a brother that's an actor. And so he does a lot of big time stuff. So I'm always getting the inside scoop on what these big time people are really like behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, I just want to hear the good stories. Tell me the good things, right? Because I want to hear this person is a really good person. And I love that. So you made me so happy. I love knowing, because I love Paul McCartney. So
he's great.
Oh,
he's great.
And look at you. See, you got to do some really cool things, and you've turned your life into how can you continue to bring, and I love that you started off with your purpose and passion was to help young women not feel that they are associated, right? Find grace within them and not feel it's the outside. So
absolutely.
Well, what words of wisdom do you have? Well, let me put it to you like this. If you were to give your younger, say your 20-year-old self, maybe 22-year-old self, advice based on who Angela was then and who Angela is today, and what you've grown to know in all of your experiences, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, this is so good. I think I would tell my younger self to not be afraid to be special, to not worry that you don't fit in because you're destined for something else, and not being like everyone else is essential in this world. And I think I would tell her that the things that you saw as bad things were actually real blessings in disguise, and just to hold on and keep knowing that this is not the end.
How beautiful is that? Thank you. And you know what? That was just such a beautiful bow. And now for anybody that would like to reach out to you, Angela, and with only your permission, what would be the best way if people want to learn more about the dance studio that you're running, if they just want to ask you questions? Can you tell us how best to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. My email address is Angela at more, MOORE, than dance.com. And my website is morethandance.com. So MOORE, than dance. I would love to hear from other people.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for being that beautiful person that I met in New York in that day, in that moment. I always pray and say before I go on, whoever's life I'm supposed to meet, right? I never make it about hundreds or thousands. I never know the individual. And so you are a gift. Thank you for sharing your light, your heart, and your soul with me and for everyone. And please stay in touch with me. Okay.
Thank you, Holly. Yes. Thank you for all you do for all of us.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Have a wonderful, blessed day.
You as well.
Thank you for joining me for another awesome celebration of you. If you were inspired by this story, please share it with your family and friends and hashtag Your Story Matters. I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment on iTunes. And absolutely, please come to my website, hollydowling.com. Leave a comment there too, and while you're there, pick up your free gift. Most importantly, though, just remember that your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift back.